Are you tired of the same old pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 4,000 hours of the best pro wrestling events from over 110 of the biggest names in the industry from over 15 countries around the globe. Get your free trial today at Powerslam.tv.
The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. This One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to I'm doing the Rich now, the April 14, 2019 edition of One Nation Radio. I'm your host, James Boyd. Role reversal, I'm the one recording the thing. I'm the ones out here doing all the work. I'm the one actually getting my Rich Lotto on, and now Rich has to sit back and relax. So, bringing Rich into the fold. What's going on, Rich Lotto?
Not much, man. Appreciate you hooking me up here. I, didn't have to. I couldn't really set up the normal setup today, so as James to cover for me, like always, it comes through. Special shout out to Simon for last week for covering for me while I was at my dinner, and I ended up sick all of last week anyway. So this is the first time I really got to talk about wrestling in a long time. So I caught that mania flu that everyone was talking about.
The mania flu, like this is not his third time doing this. Rookie, amateur.
Like, I came out there fully prepared with hand sanitizer. I was using it all day. Still didn't work.
See, you weren't hydrating. That's your problem. Hydrate. So, I guess you got
so much water up there. The water up north was glorious, by the way.
God, you really putting over New York water again. You still on this?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I miss it.
I can't wait till Josh and Jeremy hear this and roll their eyes. Just like, not these niggas again. Yeah, so I guess we start off with the WrestleMania review. Do you want match by match or moments by moments, or more or less like takeaway thoughts from the show? Because I mean, we watch a whole lot of wrestling.
Yeah. If you guys have listened to the show, we met you guys over the weekend. We slapped fives with you. You guys made this thing feel a little bit more real for us. So I guess we should go ahead and start with WrestleMania 35.
Yeah, man. So, initial first thoughts. What's the first thing to come to mind? I mean, I'm pretty sure we're all thinking like, look, man, for whatever happens, a year, 2 years, 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, it'll still be Kofi Mania. But do you want to touch on that, or do you want to,
I think overall the thing that I'm going to take away from the show is how long it was. And I think everyone's going to start there.
Fair enough.
It just went on and on and on, and then people couldn't even leave the stadium.
Yeah.
I'd like to give a shout out to us for figuring this shit out years ago, never to actually go to the stadium, because you don't know what type of circumstances they can blow you with a bad show. You can be uncomfortable as hell in your stadium seating, or you can get stuck in the stadium because WWE decides to go till 12:30 and the New Jersey Transit line wouldn't work, and you would have to pay $250 for an Uber We didn't have to deal with any of those things, James.
Yeah. I mean, and also you have WrestleMania 30 and 32, where whether it was the Superdome or it was Cowboy Stadium, where there was just a log jam of people and people trying to get into one side of the building, and people feeling, because there was such a herd and crowd mentality of just trying to push through, where there's bottlenecking, that people thought they were going to die, and
Right.
It's like it was Woodstock or some shit like that. So like I don't know how much of those particular situations, like the entrance ways, are to blame for, is WWE's blame to take for that one, but the transit situation, where they're missing trains because they want to go over in half, and their miscommunication with New Jersey and New York and their transit lines, that's definitely on them. So, that is kind of one of the big things that come out of this show after 7.5 hours. I would say that, I feel like this is the third WrestleMania in a row, or really the fourth WrestleMania in a row, fourth of them, where the length of the show spites what they were trying to accomplish with the show in general. Like, more is more is not, that's not it. And no matter how good or not good these matches are, they're definitely not helped when people are exhausted or tired, or, a crowd is just like, I'm still here waiting for this main event, or I'm here for this match, and then everything else I'm not really that enthused about. So everybody, WrestleMania moments and all that, blah, 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 but they're going to have to come to a realization that, like, this is not for the betterment of their brand, for them to keep having these shows that people, best case scenario is they say, feel good moments, but I'm exhausted.
Right. And I remember when it ended, it was just like, yo, I just want this show to be over. And it was like right before the main event started. This was like during the Triple H match.
Yeah.
It was just like, yo, I appreciate, what they're doing. Like, thank you for trying to entertain me. But, and I don't even know if formatting the card differently would have helped. If you put the Kofi thing on last, like, I don't think the crowd wakes up just because it's been that long.
Yeah.
But yeah, the crowd did peak there with the Kofi match, and we'll always have Kofi Mania. And, everything that comes with that, they did the right thing. You saw numerous videos of black grown men crying after Kofi Kingston won. Shad from Crime Time was with MVP. They were crying and hugging each other. Like, I was like, just, letting it out. And, they couldn't have did any better. I thought it was they had one great match on this show.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah. Yeah. This was, presentation, post-match, the crowd, the story in the match, how awesome, the New Day's involvement, the storytelling, like Daniel Bryan, like this is another Daniel Bryan masterpiece as well. I
was talking to Finishell. This is a shadow WrestleMania main event for Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, yeah. Like, it's funny that we've now come 5 years, from WrestleMania 30 and everything, and then, like, this is the best presentation and overall, put together thing for a WrestleMania since, the two Daniel Bryan matches at 30, and, it's crazy that, like, we're now 5 years past it, and, like, he's still the best guy WWE has. Still, I don't want to get into that argument, but as far as he did it again, and it's been 5 years since we had this kind of, like, all the feel good, all of the, all of the twists and turns in the match, and all the good wrestling, and all of the, little small things that help add to it, like the New Day giving the midnight hour to rolling out on the floor, similar to, it's almost like the touch, like when they brought out Scott Armstrong, and then he ends up knocking out Scott Armstrong, and also in the meanwhile clipping Stephanie, like all of this. And it's been 5 years, and we've missed Daniel Bryan for was it 2 of those WrestleManias, and like now that he's back and he's able to be a full-time performer, like, we're back at that, but this time it's from the perspective of it's his turn to play the obstacle, and I loved it. Yeah, so I don't know what else. What's this is second on the show? I have no idea.
I think you're talking about the SmackDown tag match, but these were not good matches on this show. Like largely up and down. Like it was like, this was a case of like, hey, the winners are going to be the right winners in all these cases, but it wasn't entertaining. Like there weren't great wrestling matches here.
I'm almost at the point with WrestleMania where I realize that WrestleMania is never going to be exactly what I want it to be. There'll be moments where I have, a match or two, or maybe an hour or two, or a first, 2 hours of a show, or whatever else, where it's like, yep, we on pace. This is what we need. This is what the streets need. But the more and more we get into these things where like there's these matches don't have the time to breathe and to be what they can be, and like almost like the opposite of after they did the brand split and they went to 4 hours, or after they combined the pay-per-views between the brands, and they kind of gave us a time for these matches to breathe. I almost feel like at this point it's all about the moments and who wins and who loses, and to their credit, this was a lot of feel good on this show in a way that we haven't really seen since probably Evolution. And one of the things for Evolution that I always brought up was baby faces, especially the ones that need to win, all won, and the only heels that won were things that you felt were necessary or made sense for going forward and to build somebody in the future. Like Nia Jax winning that match, that Battle Royal, made sense because now she's going to go wrestle Ronda again. That made sense. But this show, with Becky winning, I mean, everybody had to talk. How is Vince going to fuck us amongst the big three, the holy trinity of Kofi and Becky and Seth? And my answer always is, why does somebody have to get fucked? Why can't the people that's supposed to win or make sense to win just win? And then we all just happy and enjoy not having to think, what's next? How else are we going to get fucked? How are they going to delay this a month from now? So then we're going to come back and look at it 3 months from now and say, why the hell didn't they just win at WrestleMania? They did the right thing on these big matches, and that carried a lot of favor for the rest of this show, because a lot of this show is very similar to last year's show, except better booking decisions, and wins and losses prove that if the right people win and the right people lose, it carries you a long way as far as the people not turning off on the show or getting tired or going to burial mode on one of these long ass shows that are longer than they should be.
Yeah. Yeah, like I think everything you said is right there. So we might as well just jump into the card match by match now.
You really want to go match by match?
Get this on the road.
Okay.
I mean,
right.
It doesn't have to be.
I don't want to talk about. I really do not want to talk about Seth, but like Miz and Shane. Who gives a shit? Like, seriously. If you want to do
Rollins
it,
and Lesnar.
You have the card up?
Yeah. Yeah, I got it.
Okay, all right.
So Rollins and Lesnar, the opener for the Universal title. Brock whooped his ass before the match. Seth, pretty much, this was a Paul Heyman special. Just do your finisher over and over and over again. And it was 2 minutes and 30 seconds. These guys are on first. Came out that Brock pushed for this, like legit backstage to do this so he can get the fuck out of there. Smart. Once again, Brock Lesnar being the smartest guy in the room. He got out of there and dropped the title, and I was shocked. And it was like, wow, when Seth won the belt.
Yeah, I think it was cool. It also happened in kind of in typical Brock Lesnar fashion, like kind of like a what the fuck type of thing, where it leaves you wondering, like, that doesn't feel like a definitive finish. Is Brock going to get his win back? If and when, how long will he be back? Because like every time he loses, it's never just he loses and that's the end and he can move on to the next thing. It's always got to be. He's almost like Hogan in that way now, like 90s Hogan, where it's like he loses, but like he'll kick at 3.1 or or some shit like that. Or he'll have in the most important fall in the history of the company, you'll have somebody talk about the Sting's tan not being right, so maybe we shouldn't maybe we shouldn't fast count, we should really count or whatever nonsense they came up with. So So I'm kind of surprised he won too. I kind of feel like the way he won, can leave some to be desired. Like I would like for Brock Lesnar to be beaten and like vanquished for real, as opposed to, Seth didn't really win.
Our babyface
yeah.
Our babyface was punching dudes in the nuts, and
yeah. And it's one of those things where it happened so fast where it's like, they're going to treat it as it was a fluke. He got rocked. They're going to treat it much similar to the Goldberg fashion where, Brock not taking it seriously or whatever else, and Brock got caught. So, I don't know when he'll be back. Probably SummerSlam, you think? Next time he'll be back? Or, I'm sorry, he'll be back for Saudi Arabia, but I meant like
Saudi Arabia,
a domestic show. When do you think he'll be back?
I'll guess SummerSlam. I'll just throw it out there and win. But I would have liked more from this match because I wanted to see Rollins and Lesnar. I wanted to see the genius of Seth Rollins that everyone's telling me about here, and I didn't get it here. So
next match.
Yeah, next match was the AJ Styles and Randy Orton Borathon.
I don't get that.
They came out there and...
I'm sorry. I don't get that. I'm watching the match and I don't have good audio. I'm watching the match and like, okay, all this was well-wrestled match, and then they have their finish and the crowd I can actually hear the crowd during like the finishing sequence. They did a similar deal to what they did in their SmackDown match from 2017. And then AJ won. I thought it was a well-wrestled professional wrestling match, and I thought it was a good wrestling match. I would dare say a very good wrestling match. I don't get the Borathon thing, other than people are just tired of Randy Orton.
Yeah, I thought this was just regular, and I thought these guys had way more in them. But and they got 16 minutes to do it. So I don't know if this was like them, how Randy Orton gets down at WrestleMania, put me on early, get me the fuck out of here. But 3 and a quarter, 3.5, whatever.
That's where I'm
the Fatal 4-Way. Yeah, the Fatal 4-Way for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. They had 10 minutes, and I think this was probably your second best match of the night. If you just look at who's in the match, you got the Usos, you got Aleister Black and Ricochet, Rusev and Nakamura, and the Bar. It should be that good. They got 10 minutes to do their thing, and I really like this.
Yeah, this is one of those things where you wish that we get less Elias, less Hulk Hogan, less
oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, less backstage skits where the outsiders are gonna probe SNL geeks, less Batista Triple H, and you add 3, 4, 5 more minutes of this, and we get it to a higher level for a tag team or multi-man classic for WrestleMania. But I guess 10 minutes will only have to do for the only NXTers that made the main card for WrestleMania in the last literal calendar year. I guess that will do, right? So, good ass match. I have no problems with the Usos winning. I'm kind of curious on what they're going to do with the Usos and the Hardys or in the future now that they did the title swap 2 days later. But can't complain. It was a good ass match.
Yeah, and I think the Usos are headed to Raw. Personally, they've been on SmackDown a really long time. Raw, where tag teams go to die.
They're the AJ Styles of the tag team division for SmackDown.
Yeah, there's a lot of signature SmackDown people that might get moved around for the South. So
see, the thing is, can we just make it a thing where everybody stays on SmackDown, and then we stick our hands out and we save Sasha Banks and Bayley and Finn Balor or whoever else and pull them out of the fire dump that is Raw, and let everybody else that's out here, fucking off on Raw or just holding it in the road on Raw, let them stay over there. I don't want Baron Corbin on SmackDown. You stay your ass the fuck on Raw and let that shit die.
It's on deck.
Dude, don't do this. Don't.
There's this triad of heels. There's Elias, Corbin, and that whole segment, McIntyre, Jinder. Somebody's going back over to SmackDown out of all those guys. So
please be McIntyre, please.
So we had Shane McMahon, The Miz, big walking brawl as expected. Had George Mizanin giving us eternal meme material, throwing up the Sullivan stance, essentially, or throwing his fighting stance up. So needed that for the collection.
You know who could have helped him out with that stance?
Who?
James Ellsworth. any man with 2 fighting hands stands a fighting chance. He could have helped him out with the him out to put the Dukes up in the right perspective. Like,
Yeah.
there is no way that Mr. Miz threw up that set and didn't realize that shit was hilarious. And honestly, I think he deserves Oscar consideration for not cracking out and busting out into a gigantic laugh after throwing up that set. Because every time I see it, I see a picture of him, I'm looking at it for like, all right, was there any point where he was going to corpse? Because I would have corpse watching it, like doing that. No way I would have held. I would have bust out laughing right in front of Shane. I would have fucked up their whole match worse than they already fucked it up, but whatever.
Yeah. George Mazana ain't threw a setup in over 40 years, so you know, I mean, it's rusty. So, it was a match. And Shane McMahon wins on the fluky bullshit. He does his fall. He's determined to fall at every big thing.
Yes.
He finally got his win, James, after all this time.
At the expense of Miz, somebody who is bulletproof to wins and losses because he's been around for so long. He overcomes the bullshit that's been given to him or in whatever else. So, yeah, they had a match. I guess, is Miz like the hardcore messiah now or no?
I mean, he lost, so.
No, I mean the way we're like, okay, you don't want to be in a hardcore match with Mick Foley. You don't want to be in Hell in a Cell with The Undertaker, like that sort of thing. Like, look, win or lose, you are different once you wrestle this person in this particular stipulation. That's kind of what I meant.
Why not? Why not? Because Miz was whooping Shane McMahon black ass around the whole stadium.
Yeah. What's next? Look,
we got the.
Wait, real quick. So, from a unintentionally funny or unintentional comedy standpoint, this was like a 4-star match. From the point of it being so bad, it was good. Yes, but as far as you're watching it for it being something like that you're supposed to take at face value, fuck no, this thing sucked.
Hell no! Yeah, like this is like on the fritz. Like this is not like this is not on the up and up. Like this is a literal work. Like
yeah.
So up next we have the Fatal 4-Way Women's match. The Iconics capturing the WWE Women's Tag Team titles over the Boston Hug Connection, Nia Jackson to Natalya. This is tragic. I thought the match stunk.
Yep.
And we're going to get with our Sasha Banks conversation, but I don't understand this at all. For me, it shows they don't care about the women's tag team titles. Everything they set up, is seemingly set up with saying, Sasha and Bayley were going to go to every brand and do their thing. And, all it tells me is they're lazy. They want to put it on some comedy heel geeks and not really care about the belts. And once again, Sasha and Bayley end up fucked.
How about this? Let's put that to the side. Let's say you really want to put it on Nia and Tamina, but Nia's really soldiering through until she gets her knees done to go through the WrestleMania. Okay, fine. So they're off the table. You can't pick them. You don't believe for some reason you do not care about all the stuff you did with basically you basically had Sasha and Bayley on the campaign trail stumping for at NXT, going to house shows, doing all of that shit to try to get these belts to matter, cutting that great promo after that match, after they were the inaugural champions or whatever else. Let's say you don't care about that and you move that to the side. You have spent months on end with Natalya as far as people really, her father passed. You protected her from turning her heel against Ronda and potential discussions of her, that being the match at WrestleMania or whatever else. You've given her some wins over the Riot Squad, left and right, all throughout that. Beth is back. Beth looks great, right? They could have done a nostalgia run with them for the time being. They literally chose the 4th of the 4 options for this belt, and it's disheartening in a way, like brand new belts, fresh out the box, great look, great presentation, right? One thing we can get, I feel like we can give credit with WWE is for new belts and also for the women's stuff when it's first time ever, whatever else, for the most part, since, the 4 horsemen that came to the main roster, they've knocked it out the park more or less all throughout that whole run as far as presenting these things as things you're supposed to care about or whatever else. And then to go from aside from obviously Ellsworth winning the first Money in the Bank for Carmella, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's the only exception, though. Everything else has been perfect. I have no complaints. So they go 2 months later after all of that and just put on Iconics. It's like in their heels. In what do we have here aside from they're going to have crummy matches. They're going to come out. They're going to be mildly entertaining. They're not going to be over because every time they come out, they never get a reaction, boos or cheers. And then they're going to just move the belts on to whoever else, and then what? This is very short-sighted.
I think this is stupid. And, it was nice they got Cry in the ring and, celebrate, whatever.
They're heels. Fuck that.
Don't do nothing for me. Yeah. Yeah, like, it don't do nothing for me, so I'm... yeah. Up next, we had the singles match for the WWE Championship. Kofi Kingston.
Hold on. The thing that pissed me off about because I've heard a couple people say about, like, the moment of them crying in the ring is like, okay, you can't have it both ways. You can't have it to where the company itself bitches about and hates how much they get the "you deserve it" chant and all this other shit, and then they go and make a "you deserve it" ass moment. Which one is it? Participation trophies or no participation trophies? Which one? I'm good with either. Let me know which one you want to do.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like,
I'm serious. Pick one. Either A, we are strictly holding on to the lines of we are handing people, we are handing out, positions or spots or wins or losses just based around how compelling this person is on TV, how well they are at holding attention, and how well they are to get people to support them or support who they're going against. Or are we just, you're an employee, you've been here for X number of time, we're going to just throw you something. Which one? I'm fine with either, I'm fine with either, but I don't need constant changes of minds on how they feel on it based on where we are in the card and where we are on the show. It's confusing as fuck.
Yeah. I think the Iconics win the titles, like, I no longer care, so I can't even,
Are they, now, correct me if I'm wrong. Is the WWE network already in Australia?
Yes.
Okay. I'm wondering if maybe this is some type of gender situation or not. I don't know. Remember, like, they were on Super Showdown too, so who knows? They
won too down there.
Yeah.
But Kofi Kingston won the WWE Championship. Phenomenal match here. As I mentioned, I think the only great match on the show.
Yep.
From anyone's pretty much, standard, like, drop this match wherever, and that shit rolls. Kofi, the voyage is over. Of course, moved a lot of folks to tears. The celebration, pretty much, seeing Xavier crying in the ring, holding his man up, whole crowd going nuts. This arena came for Kofi Kingston tonight. At least that's how it seemed.
Yeah, it's pretty much, we already discussed it earlier. It was a great match, best thing on the show. Best, from my opinion, like, it's the best thing they've done on the WrestleMania since Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30. So for me, 2 thumbs up, A+, one of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time.
Yeah, good to see Kofi finally get it, and not on some, hey, you've been here forever, like it is, like the storyline. This dude's always been a champion for this company. He's always been model employee. He's always been over.
Yep.
He's always been a great performer.
Yeah, and props to them for riding the high hand. Like, he got super duper hot, and there was no reason for them not to go with it, and they decided to go with it. Like, notice that we're not talking about Braun Strowman right now, but yeah, like, I'm glad that, like, somebody was able to, get over in a way that went beyond what was the plan. They decided to actually indulge it.
Yeah. Samoa Joe squashed Ray in 1 minute flat.
Yep.
Ray was dealing with some injuries. Not sure, but they were trying to trim a little fat off this card, which is, like, hilarious. This is like, eating steak every day of the week, but, one day you didn't, so how much you really cut out. After that, we had Roman Reigns defeating Drew McIntyre.
What they basically did was they were trying to get to where they were going faster by like throwing a couple chairs off the Titanic.
Yes. We had Roman Reigns beat Drew McIntyre, and this was boring. This wasn't exactly what I feared it would be, James. This was a Hulk Hogan, Hulk Reigns match, and he got beat down and beat down and beat down and laid around and won after. And McIntyre looks like shit. Reigns looked like shit, and I didn't enjoy this at all.
Yeah, I'd have to rewatch this match. That means I have to rewatch some parts of this WrestleMania, and I think it'll be a while before I go back to that. I kind of need to decompress and get some distance from last weekend because I saw
it's been a good week.
Because I saw way too much wrestling. So, but yeah, I thought it was a fine match that would be a good like 10 o'clock hour Raw match.
Yeah, and Roman Reigns' big return, like this wasn't what I had in mind. Like I like what I would have done at least. I would have been like, y'all need to go out there and kill this shit. But they had different plans. They have their own ideas for Roman Reigns, and I saw some advertising where Roman Reigns was Baron Corbin on it. So hopefully, because they will run Roman Reigns into the ground by trying to Hoganize him against these sorry heels, essentially. And it looks like it doesn't even really matter because McIntyre is already kind of, involving himself with the other brand's champion. We're going to see when the Superstar Shakeup plays out where it all falls. But, up next, the longest match on the show, my God. And I took, we were keeping the time as it was going. Unfortunately, I didn't time the entrances also. I should have done the whole thing because I'm sure we would have got around 40 minutes.
Oh yeah, like Triple H's shit went like 6 minutes his entrance. So
unbelievable.
Just his
why?
Alone
why is this still happening?
Yeah, like just his entrance alone makes it 30 minutes, and then that doesn't include Batista or the video package or the post match.
Yeah, man, this is way too long. These guys are way too old to be doing this. These motherfuckers came out there and had a Joey Janela death match. And, I don't ever want to hear WWE trying to turn their nose up on what's going on when they got Triple H mailing in performances like this. All this showed me is that Triple H is finished, retirement stipulation or not. He's cooked. He's reached that Undertaker status. Like, you don't need to be in here no more. And I don't know what you're offering. You're having these masturbatory ass matches. We joked about the Levesque principle, and that came to be tonight. And I don't know why he's having a longer match than the WWE Championship. I don't know why he's going longer than the WrestleMania main event.
It's just a flex. It's a total flex, and it's all about ego. That's it. Like, I don't know what the situation is with Sean.
Who is this for?
I don't know what the situation is with Sean when it comes to longest cumulative time in WrestleMania history or whatever else, but like clearly he's trying to either chase or surpass Sean / Undertaker / whoever the fuck else. Like, that's the only explanation for this.
Like, I think the only person probably in front of him is Undertaker.
Yeah, I just mentioned him. I said Sean and Undertaker. Yeah, those are only two. And he needs to stop this because you watch that match and I'm watching, I'm like, there's 10, 12 minutes of good stuff in there. But it just kept going and going and going, and who the fuck for and why, and it didn't hold my attention. Like, it just fell off a cliff after a certain time. Like, once they stop doing the, I guess, mutilation porn, and then before, and somewhere between that and then when they actually came down to like the near falls, I was just sitting there just like, yo, this is really boring, and they have to actually like try to, wrestle or walk and brawl with each other, and then they've mercifully gotten to the near falls, and some of the crowd liked it, but they would like it more if they went from torture porn to near falls.
Yeah, Batista goes out. He tripped on his way into the ring, which was an all-time giveable moment. I don't know. Sad to see Dave go, but he had his time. He's done his. He's gave us a lot of entertainment over the years. I think he was, for the most part, entertaining in this program.
Yep.
And, you know, he gets to go out on his terms. He retired the next day on Instagram or wherever. And I don't know if we'll ever see him again. But, you know, thanks to Dave Bautista for entertaining us over the years. But this match wasn't it, Chief. After that, good God, speaking of another, this is Triple H sticking it to Kurt Angle. Like, I'm going to do my retirement match before you do yours, but mine's going to be 3 times as long as your match is. And maybe it was for the best because Kurt really can't move or go anymore. And he lost to Baron Corbin. And it was every bit of suckage that you would expect going into this match. People were giving it to Baron Corbin and just couldn't wait for him to leave. I don't think this didn't get Baron Corbin any heat. It's just like, yo, we know the politics. We know what this is. Like, and, you know, once he got his ass out of there, the crowd really got to appreciate Kurt. I really liked the sign where someone held up the "You Never Sucked" thing. And, you know, Angle, everybody knows Angle's broke the fuck up. He doesn't need to be in there anymore. But not a good match at all.
Nope, have nothing to say other than, like, whatever. Whatever.
Finn Balor and Bobby Lashley for the IC title. Excuse me, the Demon Finn Balor. And this was the lamest Demon entrance I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, no smoke. Just, he comes out, he walks down, he does a little bit of crawling. But kind of lame.
Felt soulless. It felt like,
it was almost as
they're
if
just pulling it out.
It was almost as if they were in a death spot and no one wanted to see this match because it's Bobby fucking Lashley. So who cares?
Yeah, they had their 4 or 5 minute match, and Balor won the IC title that he lost to simply set up this match.
Yeah. Which meant, like, why didn't you just save this for then? Like, this is the Bayley Charlotte WrestleMania 33 version, except for the Intercontinental title, except the Women's Raw title. That's all this is.
Yeah, completely nothing match.
Yep.
And like, then we got to our main event.
I'll give them credit. They worked really hard, but it was a short match, and nobody wanted to see it because they wanted to just get to the main event, for Christ's sake. So, yeah.
Yeah, that Triple H Batista like beat the fuck out of this crowd after. Then we got the main event, the winner take all triple threat match for the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championship. Becky Lynch defeating Ronda Rousey and Charlotte. James, you've long maintained you just wanted to see the match.
Yep.
How was it, sir?
It was just a good match, and that was it. It wasn't a great match. It wasn't. I had to rewatch again. I might be convinced that it was a very good match, but it was no one's great. And it left a very unsatisfying finish for what should have been the culmination of the last, 6 months or whatever it is of the rise of Becky Lynch, or even hell, like, kind of like acknowledgement of Charlotte, Becky, and Ronda. Like, they kind of did it. They made the fucking WrestleMania as the main event as women in this business that has always been, just a cesspool of all of the isms. So it didn't come off as that. So that, from that aspect, it was disappointing, but it was just good. And, it's definitely not like it's not even like it's one of the worst half of WrestleMania main events of all time. Like, there's plenty of Hogan trash baggeries. So yeah, it was just a good match.
I thought this was the culmination of the last 6 months. This was them fucking a program to the point to people not caring. They were met with not caring.
That's not a culmination. That's just that's symbolism. That's different. It's different.
Oh, okay.
Different.
Well, it was damn sure reflected out here.
Okay, fair enough.
They got the winner right.
Yep.
They actually had her get the fall on Ronda.
Yeah.
Of course, you guys know about the controversy with Ronda's shoulders being up. I just chalked that up to a botch on Ronda's part.
Hold on, Rich. Let's put that to the side. Let's say her shoulders were down the whole time.
So it was flat. It was weak. It was completely off guard. Yeah. It wasn't that like they didn't
and it wasn't built
come up with any type of finishing sequence. Like, could they have called Gargano? I'm sure he was there. Any ideas of how we could finish the end of this match? Like something. Like it just came out of nowhere and it was like, oh, that's it.
Yes.
Oh,
I don't know what.
I'm just here holding my dick now. Like
I don't know whether or not this was a. I don't know whether or not this was a Becky Lynch pay-per-view match or if this was an Alexa Bliss pay-per-view match. And you know what I mean by that. Flat finish, no one's expecting it. You're just kind of sitting there like left to shrug your shoulders like, wait, what? Okay, I guess that is the end.
It's almost like if you didn't want Ronda to submit to somebody, they should have came up with an impact finish for Becky Lynch all these months.
Yeah. Like, think about...
It's almost like she should have been doing the Stone Cold Stunner this whole time.
Now we got to say that for Kevin Owens, who's not on the fucking card.
Unbelievable.
Better yet, right? We've seen guys that... we saw Daniel Bryan WrestleMania 13. He unleashed the bicycle knee against Cena for the first time, and everyone knew that was the finish when it happened, and everyone knew that was his finish going forward. And look where we are now. With him, where Kofi is kicked out of it twice, and both times those have been classic matches. So to see that Becky didn't get nothing, she basically just caught her slipping. Is like, okay, cool, but like, what would you rather seen? The crucifix pin, or like she had just tapped out Charlotte? I think I would rather have her tap out Charlotte.
Oh my god! I think I would have blew my stack had she like submitted Charlotte. I would just been like, this is bullshit. Now, because it was gonna be, it was bullshit on either hand for me, because I was saying either Charlotte's just not gonna be involved. This is the first time we're mentioning Charlotte in this, and she shouldn't have been there. She was literally just there for the clout and historical reasons.
Look, she might have been the best wrestler in the entire match, but she didn't raise the match to the level that we thought that she would have. And
I'm looking for all the cops that was trying to tell me that, Charlotte was in there to save the match, like Cameron was going to save the album. I'm looking for y'all. Where are y'all at right now?
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the entrances for all three.
You did?
Yeah. I like the helicopter deal. I like Becky's, just kind of walking out.
I felt like she was totally upstaged. I felt like...
Because if you think about it, like with Becky, like the whole thing, she's stripped down, like to literally like black and white. Look at her t-shirt, the man. Like it's not really fancy, and I actually like kind of dug that.
I get that to an extent, but I would then say to you, well, look at how stripped down Roman Reigns is, and look at how that fucking pyro he comes out to during WrestleMania. So can we get her something right?
Oh yeah, he came out to an absurd amount of pyro.
Well, I'm not even saying about how absurd it was. I'm saying like even people that are basic stripped down, more or less quote unquote real characters, lived in characters, whatever you want to call them, and not over the top, gimmicks like Hogan or Warrior or Savage. You still had people that the pyro or whatever else around Roman Reigns, or it's just for me where she came out last, right?
Yeah,
right. So. For Charlotte to come out, coming off the helicopter like her damn dad at freaking Great American Bash, and comes out, and then Joan Jett plays in Ronda, and then Becky just walks out. Like it was really similar to, remember how crazy Shinsuke's interest was in WrestleMania last year, and then AJ just walks the fuck out. It is like, like was there no more room in the budget? Like what is going on?
They spent it on the 1,000-foot base screen that was behind them on the WrestleMania stage.
Yes, the WrestleMania stage, the screen was so damn big that it blocked out some of the pyro. Like it was like, wow. All right, okay, but that one kind of was like, I get the toned down approach thing, but it's like, I need a little bit more.
It is WrestleMania. It's supposed to be like
a little panache, just a little something, right?
Yeah. Like I don't know, maybe you could have shown Becky walking through the back, and then you could have got some cameos, like you could have had Austin standing there or something, and saying what's up to her, or something like that. I don't know, maybe and keep like the same idea or whatever. But overall, I don't think the match was a tragedy or anything. It was just there,
and
Yeah, it was just
flatly good.
I thought it was gonna be more, but
we all did.
And they got the main event, so yeah, man. But overall, I think history will be kind to this show because people will like there are people trying to tell us last year's WrestleMania was good, which is not. This one, I think, will go a lot farther in way of the finishes. If you're just looking at where it is, like as far as great matches, I think you're talking about one match on this show. And for me, you can't have like an all-time great show just with that by itself. So this, I don't know. I haven't
7.5 hours.
Right. I haven't like gone through the rankings to see where I'd put it. I would definitely put it above last year. I'll say that.
I would say this is definitely the best WrestleMania since at least 31.
And that's honestly not saying that much, but
I didn't say it was. I'm just stating a fact, though.
Yep. But overall, I think it was it was a decent showing. I'm just glad they came out here and gave a fuck like on the finishes and and realized people would rush the ring. I don't know about that, but
or be done with the company for
or be done because it was up next, man.
Like, bro, you know how soul crushing it would be had it been like a Brock, Bryan, Ronda night, or I'm sorry, or a Brock, Bryan, Charlotte night. You know how fucking soul crushing that would have been.
Yeah, bro, you'd be doing this show solo.
Shit, that's what you think. It wouldn't have been no show.
Look, we would have put out that Pootie Tang show this week. So
it would have been some real like Simon Cotton, Jeremy Donovan does One Nation Radio from this point forward type of show. Like, I'm done. Like, and again, another part about it also makes it funny is like this year, like tell me how, especially this WrestleMania weekend, tell me how after all these years, like WWE is more in tune with knowing what their fan base wants and giving it to them better than Ring of Honor. Who would have thought about some shit like that like 3 years ago?
Yeah. I was actually having a conversation with Simon today about Ring of Honor, and I told him essentially what Ring of Honor has done is they've fell behind in talent recruitment. So what they're relying on are mercenaries, essentially. And that's what the Elite became. That's what all these guys that they signed just to be on this show became. The Banditos, the PCOs, the Brody Kings. Like, these aren't guys that are coming up through that Ring of Honor system and becoming stars, or they're not getting their hands on the talent first. It's like everyone else is getting the talent, and Ring of Honor is like falling to, like, they are in the position that they are, like they're in a higher profile position right now than they've ever been, right? But that is not a reflection of what they're currently doing. That is a reflection of their historical like significance. Everything is built up to get them to this level. Everything that used to be there is no longer there anymore.
Yep. Are we gonna get into that, or that's for a later show?
I mean, we can talk about it now. I'm pulling up the next topic on our screen. Like, I'm pulling up the story behind it. So if you have some thoughts on the ROH thing.
Yeah, man, just okay. So we all went to Takeover New York. We all went to the G1 Supercard, and we all went to, or we all watched WrestleMania. And WrestleMania was the worst show of the three.
Don't let nobody lie to y'all either.
Yeah, it was the worst show of the three. It ain't close. But the thing was, if we were just to break it down amongst Ring of Honor, and we separated Ring of Honor from the New Japan stuff, then like Ring of Honor had the worst weekend.
Yeah. Even Impact, they drew a nice house in like New Jersey. I wish I could have got to that show. They drew like over 1,000 fans. Yeah.
It was in Jersey. Ain't no. You stay in that state. Stay over there. It just, dude, it was really bad. Like, they brought out the Allure. Well, first off, they went out there and had a stinker with fucking
not the Jay-Z song.
Yeah, because like we just saw them have Kelly Klein and Mayu have a pretty decent match at the last pay-per-view, the one that was in Miami. And then they come on and do this one, and like Kelly Klein wants to turn babyface, and it's like, what's the purpose of having that entourage and doing the mouthpiece gimmick and all of a sudden be a babyface, you fucking Nimrod? Whatever. That y'all want to do that, fine. Y'all are just in tatters with your women division, so fine. We'll Fine, we'll turn you babyface in this match. They have the match. It's not good because Kelly Klein's not good. And then they bring out these relics from the fucking past of Impact/TNA to do this stable based in 2019. They want to do a stable based around heels that can't work for shit. It's like, okay, all right, cool.
Bully Ray.
Yeah. Then the Lifeblood deal, like it was a hardcore match that I just never got into because I'm not invested. The ladder match. The ladder match just went way too fucking long. Like, how long did it go? 30, damn near 40 minutes?
It had to go 30 minutes.
It felt like it went damn near 40.
Yeah. I was like, man, hurry the fuck up so we can get Okada out here.
Yeah. Trying to think what else. I mean, and the funny part is, there's things that they had, the Ring of Honor stuff that they had that were like, involving, that were, or what do you want to say, versus, whereas Ring of Honor versus New Japan, that stuff was fire. Like, the cruiserweight match or the light heavyweight match, that was fire. The multi-tag match with Brody King and PCO and,
I really
and the Briscoes
and
God and Sonata Evil, that match was great. But once they start, Ospreay versus Cobb, TV title versus Never title, that was a great match. But once it was just Ring of Honor left to their own devices, it was fuck shit the whole night.
Yeah. And that's even before you add in the Enzo Amore,
Jesus fuck.
Deal there. So, not on our format. Not really going to touch on it too much. If more comes, we'll talk about Enzo when the time comes.
Yeah. But I will say this, right? The New Japan version part of the G1 card was fantastic, and like all the stuff that was any of the stuff that was non Ring of Honor exclusive was great. Is that part, like, you just get rid of the Ring of Honor stuff, that's one of the better shows you'll see in your lifetime as a wrestling show. No, that definitely dragged it down. Those were anchors.
Yeah. I think that, and I think the main event was probably my favorite match of the weekend. And, I just saw the IWGP title change in front of me, and, people were yelling Okada as we were walking out. It was insane. Like it was a real night for like the culture of wrestling, and I was glad to be. But something else going on in wrestling, Sasha Banks. So in the continuation of windships at WrestleMania, Sasha tried to quit over the weekend. She felt blindsided when she found out at the last minute they were taking her and Bayley. Essentially, as the story goes, from the Observer, she thought that they would be given the chance to have a strong run and bring credibility to the belts and establish them as serious titles. But the Iconics won, and she basically tried to essentially give her notice, but then they told her, hey, take a few weeks before, this, and, the company's like, chill, and we'll check on you in a couple of weeks, see if this is what you really want to do. But chances are they're not going to give her release. I'd be fucking shocked if that happens. And
of course not.
I've seen a lot of people going at Sasha Banks' head this week and calling her ungrateful and all this other everything, just siding with the employer and everything like that. And if you're Sasha Banks, I don't even know like a legitimate argument to say that Sasha Banks is in the wrong here for how she's being treated. And this isn't just the fucking tag team titles, right? This is like the culmination of her entire career on the main roster. She was always the most over person. She was always the person, if you go back to WrestleMania 32, everyone wanted Sasha to win. Sasha's been consistently moved around for Charlotte, for Alexa, for Ronda, and she's always been more over. She's unquestionably the most popular woman on social media, despite Becky Lynch's like insane Twitter following and her skills at Twitter. If you look at the numbers, it's all Sasha. Sasha's been selling merch for you out there, and she's a woman that essentially, and she's been in the wrong alignment her entire run, essentially. So what is it, James? Can you expand on Sasha's feelings here?
Oh, well, her feelings are that she you know, I'm assuming that she's creatively unfulfilled and creatively unsatisfied, and dumb motherfucker. Like, look at it. You just go back to last year's WrestleMania or last year, this time, where they were teasing this whole Sasha versus Bayley thing, and they're finally going to do, the classic feud from NXT on the main roster this time, when people actually, know a bit of Bayley, know Sasha from, her multiple title runs or whatever else. So, for me, they did the whole thing where they teased it and then they turned it into a feud or whatever else. And I guess that's their roundabout way of telling a story of they almost tore apart. Their friendship almost came apart at the seams, but they were able to get together. So that's why they deserve the titles. Maybe. Or they just changed their minds because that's how they always do. And let's say that was the story they were telling. So why the fuck will you get the belts off of them in 2 months? And besides that point, you had to run a match where they just threw that together last minute for Royal Rumble.
They got 4 weeks to essentially do their thing.
Was it 4 weeks or was it 3 weeks?
Maybe less.
Yeah, so. Yeah, man, it's really. It's more of a. People are sad and frustrated, and it's a hierarchy, and everybody, regardless of if she was an AEW or whatever else, or any other wrestling promotion, there's always going to be people that are upset with their roster positioning or whatever else. But the thing for me is, this is someone that merits this discussion for being someone at a higher position, more or less throughout this whole run. And I don't know, man. I would say that she handled it poorly, and I don't see how her handling it poorly negates the fact that she's also been fucked with in a way that she should not have been. Like, it's this weird thing where people don't just want to skip past the part that really matters, which is she's creatively frustrated because they've done creatively frustrating things, and then someone handles it in a way that they don't think is perfect, and then they just want to focus on the fact that it wasn't handled perfect. And it's like, okay, there's room for both. I got time for both. Stop acting like that, right? Like, it's really. And then you throw in the fact of, it's Sasha. We're talking about a black woman, and we're talking about respectability politics, and it's there's also in the lens of that, and it's just like. It's really frustrating to watch and see people get really upset with someone that's very talented and someone that has not been given a good due or whatever else you want to call it, and then they get met with they get met with people saying that they've had. Oh well, you didn't handle it with all the with all the restraint of a saint, so never mind. Like, your feelings are negated or your work has been negated. Like, it's just really frustrating.
You know what else that they met with, and anybody sending this out there can just shove this up your ass too. Don't fucking come out here and throw 4 dopey 15-day title reigns at her and say, God. Yeah, this is you've been used right. Like, get the fuck out of here.
I didn't even bring that up because I felt like that was below us even having to mention it. Like, of course not, motherfucker. Like, she's like, think about how people talk about all the after title reigns, whether short-lived reigns or bad programs immediately after, where it feels like the company literally tried to sabotage them or whatever else. Sasha Banks has 4 of those actually 5 of them now. 5 of them. But now you include this fucking tag match, so it's she's at the top of the list of people that were they gave a belt to, but they ain't actually make them the person.
And the thing is, it's not comparable when you talk about how title reigns are used with men and then how title reigns are used with the women. If you don't have the belt in the women's division, you're not on the fucking show. Yeah, you're not you're not being dropped into the mid card. You're not being dropped into the opening match or anything. Yep. You're on the fucking pre-show or you're sidelined. Yep, and absolutely. Sasha Banks has been way too talented for way too long to just get sidelined as much as she was last year. It was a running joke on that segment last year how much Sasha was there, and I hope she leaves if it's possible, so she can tour the world, become be the star that she knows she is, because that's ultimately what this is about. This is a person that knows that they don't deserve more, they've earned more, they have the ability to be if it's funny that Becky Lynch has turned into like this top star in the business, right? That was always Sasha Banks from day one. This was Sports Illustrated writing about her when she was in, like, this was like she was the person that was going to break through and all this. And to see where Sasha is at compared to how they nurtured and shepherded Charlotte to make sure she didn't fall behind her, and then just let Charlotte like blow past her essentially, and then Becky caught fire essentially away from Monday Night Raw and the toxicity of Alexa Bliss and everything like that. Like, she like is inexcusable, and I hope she leaves. I hope she lands at AEW. She would be an incredible addition to that division that looks fucking stacked, by the way. She would be number one.
Okay, so the thing for me is, I don't care where she goes. I just want to see her in a position where she can go out there and have the programs and the wrestling matches that I know she can do because I've seen her do it. And also, it's so weird to see, on one end we have the first ever women's main event with Ronda and Charlotte and Becky, and then you look at the two other horsewomen, and everybody has their favorites or whatever else, and like it's just really weird to see like how big of a gap there is between those two when they all came up, and at different points, really up until August, the one that we thought the least amount as a potential to become a breakthrough star or main eventer of WrestleMania one day was Becky. And then all of a sudden we're here now, and Becky is the top dog, and it's like, so you had all of this hidden potential or hidden talent, if you will, stuck there, and she deserved to be the main event, whatever. But then you don't realize what's been in your face before, even though like you clearly notice this because you treated her better than you treated Becky for so long, and now it's like it's almost like you forgot. It's weird. It's very weird. And then the Bayley thing where like they fucked up Bayley, and then like they never tried again, and then she got herself over a month or so ago when Sasha was hurt and basically doing these Iron Man jobs or whatever, Iron Woman jobs or whatever else, and then they said they completely put the kibosh to that as well. It's like, it's really weird, and I don't know, like, I guess, I don't know. And it definitely doesn't make me enthused for like the future prospects of someone like or people like Io and Kyrie, or someone like Shayna, or someone like Bianca, that they're just gonna fuck around with these people. The fuck around with them is like, those four have never been on the level, or NXT anyway, have never been on the level of Sasha Banks or Bayley. And look where we are 5 years removed. Like it's really, or 4 years removed. It's really like it's disheartening. It's like, it's a machine. They're going to come up with a new set of men and women that they're going to get on a certain level that we're going to see all of this potential and promise with, and they're going to fuck them up too. And I don't even want to feel like this on, like, after they gave us such a positive step forward with their booking on WrestleMania, but like, this one thing is like, if you can't make it work with Sasha, then like, what other women are you going to make it work with in the future?
Yeah.
Like
Bianca Belair ain't got a chance. Like,
no. I mean, I don't see, like she's younger than hell. Like Sasha's younger than Bianca.
Yeah, younger than Bianca.
Yeah.
And honestly, and what we're talking about is like from bell to bell, like the greatest woman to ever set foot in this company. You're talking about with Sasha Banks.
At worst, number 2. At worst,
like you go through the history, like all these matches that she has more than everybody. She's everyone's best match, essentially.
Yep.
And
like everybody's best match is either with 3 people: Asuka, Sasha, or Charlotte. Those are the 3. That's the holy trinity of WWE women's wrestling.
And I hope Sasha, like, it all works out for her, because she's been one of my favorite wrestlers since 2015, and I think she's like worth so much more. Yeah, moving on. We got the announcement, switching gears to AEW, the announcement of Fyter Fest. James, have you seen the promotional video for this?
No, I have not. I am not a AEW elite mark. I'll watch it whenever they come up with it. Whenever they come up with something big show that comes to fruition, but like just come up with matches, and I'm kind of over the hype. Like I just want them to like get a date for whatever else, and like build anticipation from there, as opposed to we're building anticipation for the anticipation building. Like I'm kind of you know.
So you're not paying attention to this at all because they did all that. So,
okay. Well, I haven't paid attention to none of this shit. Like I was talking about. I wasn't necessarily talking about Fyter Fest. I was talking about like the AEW TV deal more. That's what I was talking about. Those are two separate discussions, but I rolled it into two because I'm irresponsible. Sorry.
Yeah. So I think it's June 29th, if I'm not mistaken. So they announced Fyter Fest, and it's like the promo video was like a spoof on Fyre Fest and all the documentary behind that. And they did the whole deal with, you know, the models in it and shit. I was dying laughing. They announced Cody and Darby Allin, and also the Bucks and Kenny will be teaming up to face Pac and the Lucha Bros. I don't know about you, but that shit looks lit. Darby Allin is a guy that has ended up now signed with AEW, and he was formerly in WWN, which is essentially the single A for WWE at this point. So that's a defection that I think I actually saw probably a couple months ago. Someone on Cage Side Seats was like, these are the guys essentially that AEW is going to be able to compete for, because people think Darby Allin can be a superstar. I've seen him work a couple of times. He's extremely fast in the ring and a daredevil and a unique cat. Like he's a dude that that you wouldn't want to see yourself hanging out with, because he's like kind of on that other life. Like, you ain't trying to really roll with him there. But I think those are two good matches to get eager to see what else they got going there. The mix of Cody and him should be pretty interesting, you know, because Cody, he's not the fastest worker in the world, and Allen might be like the fastest guy in the business. So maybe, you know, how I don't know how that one's going to go, but what do you think about the announcement of this Bucks and Kenny against?
Yeah, I'm into it. I want to see the match, but I guess I have to see the build for it over else, and you've seen it. I haven't, so I can't really speak to it.
Gotcha. So after that, like, Darby Allin was not the only new signing for AEW. They've also added Hikaru Shida, Joshi, as you can tell by the name, and she's been associated with Kenny Omega over the years. She's one of his favorite wrestlers, I believe. And James, you had a little bit more information on her than I did, so tell us about Hikaru Shida.
Yeah, I mean, I can't give you a CRE breakdown because I'm not that good, but yeah, she was a freelancer, and then kind of settled down at Oz Academy over I think probably like last 2-3 years. She has a rivalry. She had a pretty hideous rivalry with like Hiroyo Matsumoto, and I saw her match last year with Asia Kong, and it was a flat out fucking war. It was pretty much one of those babyface in peril classics against a monster. I suggest you check that out. You can find it anywhere internet is available. So yeah, she has a nice look as far as like her gear and everything. She looks like a star. You know, I don't know what she's set up to do for, like, you know, normally when I see a sign, I can see like, okay, I can see what happened. Like when they did the Yuka Sakazaki and Asia Kong, I'm thinking like they're going to immediately do a babyface in peril type match with this monster. Now that Hiroku is there, I don't know what the plan is, but I mean, it's somebody that is a very good wrestler, or a great wrestler at times, and you know, the more the merrier. I kind of worried of what they're going to do as far as promos and that sort of thing for the American audience amongst the women, amongst their best women. I mean, there's Britt, there's Nyla. Who else is there right now that you know you can go out there and carry some good promos for amongst the women division?
You can talk about I don't know what B Priestley's speaking is like.
Neither do I.
As far as like what she does, like promo. Brandy can talk.
Is Brandy going to work, or is
Sadie?
she just
I'm not sure.
Hold on, is Brandy going to work, or is she doing the just?
I think she's going to do behind the scenes at first, but then she'll work her way into wrestling.
Okay. I'm not exactly enthused for that, but okay.
Yeah, I think she's going to be like she's going to be largely out the way until like whenever they want to throw her in there. So, but looking at the roster, they've got Aja Kong, Allie B. Priestley, Brandy, as mentioned, Dr. Britt Baker, Karu Shida, Kylie Ray, Nyla Rose, Penelope Ford, Sadie Gibbs, and Yuka Sakazaki. So, looks like they're building that out, and I'm excited to see who else gets added on that end. But
this is what I'll say, right? That roster, as far as their talent, is deeper than, say, the Raw Women's Division or the SmackDown Women's Division. So, just for off that, they're off to a good start. But some of them I have to get more familiar with, and some of them are going to have to grow. Like Sadie Gibbs could be a great wrestler in 2 years, or ... So, we'll see.
And then at the Superstar Shakeup tomorrow, man. So we've got pretty much everybody set to be on the move. I don't know if NXT UK is involved in this. I would like them to be. I would like Pete Dunne to get a call up here. Who are some of the people that you're thinking about like are going to be on the move?
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that Pete Dunne moves to NXT domestic. I do not want to see him next to this nonsense that is the main roster. But if it's time for him to come up, it's time for him to come up, I guess, right? Time for him to go out there and get booked poorly. So
you get some bad booking. You get some bad booking.
Yeah, they handed that out like candy. So I don't know. Like I feel like however it works out, like Seth and Roman need to be on separate brands away from each other. I feel that whatever brand that Braun Strowman is on, Lars Sullivan needs to be on the other one. Otherwise, it's not going to work. I like for Finn Balor to move the Intercontinental title to SmackDown and the U.S. title to be moved to Raw. I feel like Joe could be a better service for Raw, especially as a talker and building promos with that hot fire he spits, as opposed to SmackDown, which is shorter and more into. It's more of a concern of professional wrestling than sports entertainment. At least at times it feels that way, right? Like there's not that 15-minute block to start off every single show that just like this immediately, like no matter what, we are going to set a table as opposed to have a wrestling show. So I think that'd be a nice swap. For the most part, I'm trying to think of what else. I mean, you mentioned that it would be cool for the Usos or to move over to Raw. That could be cool. I would like AJ to move over to Raw. I would love to see AJ versus Rollins. I would love that. I mean, AJ's done everything there is to do on the Raw division. I mean, on the SmackDown division. And you can say the same for the Usos. So that'd be a nice change of pace to see them both on Raw. For the sake of Raw being a better show, they do need to break up like the heels of Jinder, Elias, Corbin, and Lashley, and either move one or two of them to SmackDown, and like hopefully like they can shuffle them down the card once they start putting them next to other good heels, and they realize like, yeah, this is substandard. What the fuck are we doing? In a similar fashion, what happened with Corbin when he was on SmackDown 2 years ago, when we were like, yeah, bro, you ain't good. No, it's not going to work out for you. Go out here and cash in that Money in the Bank and lose because, you're substandard. So like, once that happens, I think it'll be a better balance. Like, SmackDown was just so, even after the breast, we knew like SmackDown was so much deeper. than Raw was, and they were relying on a lot of guys that were yet to be proven and that gave you a track record to indicate that like they weren't going to come through, and lo and behold, none of them came through on the Raw side. So, you got to break some of that up. Like they gave you a full year of trash, so you got to split that trash up, and SmackDown's going to suffer. But I think if you separate some of that, then like Raw will become better, and that will make a better view experience for watching all 5 hours on a weekly basis.
Yeah, I think I like Roman to go to SmackDown, like AJ to go to Raw, like Orton to go to Raw. Like
you really want Orton on Raw getting overexposed?
Sure. Like he can get out of the way, like so we can open up the real land of opportunity. I like Andrade to go to Raw. Because if you need a dude to have some matches for 15 minutes, that will be good. I can't think of a better guy on the roster right now. I ultimately I like to where Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns are on the same roster. I like AJ and Seth to be on the same roster. I think Andrade fits well there with Raw as well. I think I
have a hard time trusting him putting Andrade on Raw, especially after what he did at Lucha House Party, and like I just
True.
Yeah, I just another Mexican.
What do you think about Strowman? What do you think about?
Yeah, it seems like he's destined to be feuding with Joe. So whether that's Raw or SmackDown, I'm looking forward to that. Wherever he goes, they need to make sure that Lars is on the other side, because that's not going to work out well for Lars. Like, we already have a monster. And I was saying this to Dan Coffin while we were at the NXT house show, the Largo Loop, on Friday, that like Braun is the Incredible Hulk. Like, we have him, he's the unstoppable force, and then like you don't want also on the same show to have Thing. Like, Thing is cool, he's a monster as well, but he ain't the fucking Hulk, and we don't need there to be comparison until there's like, they go face to face in a Rumble or at a Survivor Series, and you can be like, ooh, like the monsters face off. So like whether it's like Undertaker and Big Show, or Undertaker and Kane show up in the Rumble, and all of a sudden they go face to face, like you want to keep that far apart as long as you can, because once they go face to face or in their scene together and they have that feud or whatever else, it's not going to go work out well for Lars.
I'd like to move Nakamura over.
He's monsters, but he's not a monster. Like, he's 6'3". He's not 6'8" or 6'7" or whatever the hell Braun is.
Yeah. He's real wide, but not real tall. Yeah. I'd like to move Nakamura over. I think he's pretty much cooked on SmackDown. He could use a change of scenery.
You mean as a tag team or as a single? Because I think they're going to be
as a single. Like, yeah.
I think
you
honestly
move them both. I don't care.
Okay. Because I honestly think he has more of a shelf life as a tag team. Like, dude, so who are just rank the SmackDown tag teams for me real quick. Just rank them. Any old ranking, don't matter.
So it don't matter. Yeah, you got the Usos, you got the Hardys. Mm-hmm. You've got those guys.
New Day.
New Day.
The Bar.
You got Black and Ricochet. I don't know where they're going to shake out.
Okay. Based where I'm getting at
the
is,
Bar.
How many of those do you come up with, and how many of them are just better than whatever the fuck Raw has?
Damn near all of them.
Right. So just move Rusev and Nakamura to Raw. Move Ricochet and Black full-time to Raw. Move the Hardy Brothers or whoever else. Move 3 of those teams on that SmackDown side. Move them full-time to Raw and save this division. Because, Jesus Christ, like, I'm sorry, like, the Revival, look, they're great wrestlers. Same for Roode and Gable. They're great wrestlers as well. I don't care. WWE hasn't cared.
Vince
Why
doesn't
should I care? Like, throw in some people that people care about, and then go from there.
Yeah. I think besides that, I think that the guys, as far as the ladies, I think, with Becky having both belts and kind of being on both shows, I don't really know how this whole thing's going to work. But I could see getting Charlotte back on Monday Night Raw. I could see them using. I'd like to get Sasha on SmackDown. If her whole thing goes through the right way. Nia's out for a long time, so I don't know where she'll be when she returns. But I think Raw, it just feels like the Riot Squad. Like, I'd love to break the Riot Squad up. Like at this point, yeah, Ruby, you're going to SmackDown, but these two are staying over here, or vice versa.
That would be the end of those two.
Well, it's a competitive business, so they better figure it out. Yeah. Because if I had to watch any more six woman Riot Squad matches this year, I'm going to stick 9-inch nails through both of my eyelids. Like,
wow.
Maybe you get Mandy and Sonya on Raw.
I can see that.
Well,
I can see that.
For me, that's all the moves I would make. I don't know about Asuka being on Raw. You can, keep her where she at, essentially, with SmackDown, and make her not have to talk, and you can keep her away from Alexa Bliss and shit like that. So, because they love to do that. So, and we already actually saw that a couple years ago, and it was not good. And I don't know. What about NXT? Like, I'm looking at the roster here.
No more call-ups. Don't give them assault. Don't give them anything else. Like, if you want to say,
they're getting somebody.
Why? We just had 2 batches of fucking people. Why would we do that?
I think more people are coming up.
But it makes no sense. Hold on, Rich. It makes no sense. You just had 1 batch. You did nothing with Lacey Evans for months until now she's in the fucking title match or title picture with Becky. Fine, whatever. Lars, they were teasing Lars since after Survivor Series, like the night of Survivor Series. He's just now getting his run. That's 2 right there. You got Ricochet, you got Black. They may split up. They may say a tag team. Who knows? That's 4 right there.
I don't think any men are going up.
Huh?
I don't think any men are going up.
Well,
women.
Yeah. I am saying NXT as far as NXT plus NXT UK. So I said, like, if they throw it in done, fine. But anybody else, no, it makes no sense.
Then what's Kyrie Sane doing in NXT at this point?
What would she be doing on the main roster?
Something else. Okay.
I would say that it would make very little sense for them to move up Kyrie before doing a proper feud with Io. I would say you need to do an Io feud first before you move her up. That's what I would say. Or you bring them both up together as the Sky Pirates as a tag team. Like, but if you're going to bring her up as a single, I don't think you bring her up as a single. It ain't going to work.
What about Babatunde?
Excuse me? Excuse me? Did you say Babatunde? No.
Yeah. So they've got other because they like to hit you out of left field with a couple folks. Like, I can see them just like of them. They just call her up out of nowhere. I can see Candice LeRae being. How old is she? 33. Like, yeah. I can see them.
I can see them bring up Candice.
Randomly call. They've called these people up into the Royal Rumble before, and we know Vince has seen them and different stuff like that. I'd hope they wouldn't call up Vanessa and and what's her name, Aaliyah. I hope that wouldn't happen. Yeah, but
anytime we can add more bad tag teams, you got to do it.
Yeah, I'm thinking, don't be shocked if you see a Candice or a Kyrie go up. As a dark horse, I'd say Mia. But
could be.
Maybe. I look at the men's roster. I don't think anybody really fills a role there. I think all these people still have lots to do.
Yeah.
In NXT, if it was me, I'd move people up. But I'm not running this company.
Okay, so if you wanted to move on and say that we think this person already gets it and they've been in NXT but they haven't done much, I'm okay with that. So if they move over Candice or a Dijakovic or a Keith Lee, okay, fine. But like just bringing up people just to bring them up after you've already had 2 fucking batches of people come up, and you haven't even used the people that you actually planned on, you really want to use, like Lacey or Lars. It's like you have those 2 already there. You already know you want to do something with Ricochet and Alistair because you keep protecting them. Neither one of them have submitted or been pinned yet. So, like, that's 4 people right there. How many more people do you need on a roster that's already bloated to death?
This is literally what they do. Like, everything you're saying is valid, but these motherfuckers love to just like have excess. Essentially.
But for example, right, Ember just came back. Ember was at WrestleMania, right? Do something with her. Like, she was over before she got hurt.
Seems like she would be a nice challenger for the title. Like,
yeah. Like, or if you ever decide to do a mid-card women's feud, that would be the one to try to propel her or whatever else. I feel like that a lot of the talent, as far as women's divisions goes, I feel like a lot of that needs to move over to SmackDown, because SmackDown was very top-heavy and dangerously top-heavy all throughout last year, where they were only 4 deep. And, Mandy and Sonya, at times they filled in and they got time, whatever else, but they didn't make the best use of it. Even though I still think there's still potential there with both of them, it didn't work out in what they were given. And that doesn't mean I'm saying they should be done with, but like I think maybe move them to Raw or whatever else, or try something else with them on Raw might be a nice change of scenery, and away from all of the stuff that involved Charlotte versus Becky just basically eclipsing the entire division for the whole year, more or less. So, yeah, but I think there needs to be more balance. I think now that Ronda's out the way and Ronda doesn't need a steady slew of better.
She doesn't need an assembly line.
Yeah, like people with credibility to beat, whether it was a Bayley or Sasha or Natty or
Nia.
Yeah, or Nia. People that have some credibility with the fan base, like I feel like you can spread that around. Like hell, maybe even move Nia to SmackDown.
Yeah,
like
she's gonna be out for a while.
Yeah, she'll be back, but at least it'll come back and she'll be, she can kind of hit the ground running, as opposed to she'll get lost in the shuffle on Raw, because Raw is always gonna be Raw. I don't give it until I see otherwise. I don't even give a damn what happens in October. Raw is always. I still see them gonna treat Raw like it's Raw until I see otherwise. There's no reason to believe otherwise.
Yeah. One other thing I didn't have on the format sheet, which I feel compelled to mention: the Road Dogg leaving WWE, his position as the head writer. We famously have gotten into it with Road Dogg, myself, but I think in order to be objective here, I think we have to look at how SmackDown has been in the lead up and give the Road Dogg some type of credit. And whatever work he did, helping that show be better the last couple months, our best goes out to him. But he apparently just got sick of Vince. Keep changing the shit and being up till 3 a.m. and all this other shit. And he was like, you know what? Fuck it. In addition to Buddy at the Hall of Fame, that, depending on what story you believe, he got chewed out by Vince, and he was like, man, fuck this. I'm quitting. Like, learn a lesson, Vince. Like, Vince is killing people, bro. Well, not literally, but just off. Still.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Oh, so quick question. Now that Sammy has been on Raw, Raw and SmackDown this past week, where do you think he ends up? Because for the longest we were like, move him to SmackDown, get him the fuck away from Raw.
I think he needs to stay on Raw. And I say that because he's going to be able to talk, and you can use him like he's the ultimate versatile piece. He can be a B pay-per-view challenger for Seth Rollins to beat. If you want to have a great match with Seth Rollins and Sami Zayn for the Universal title, you can have him be the mid-card champion. You can have him literally, he's going to be cutting these promos on the fans every week, right? What better place to do that than Raw, a show full of talking and everything else? Yeah, and heat. So I think where I see him ending up.
Yeah. Sorry for digressing. What were we just talking about before then?
Vince basically running people off the job.
Yeah, man. Like, Vince is not. I mean, whatever. Like, everyone's heard the stories about Vince and him being difficult to work with, and him being not necessarily a taskmaster, much of a psychopath. But yeah, I mean, that's another one of the story to add to the long list of him, not knowing how to treat people like human beings. So I don't really much to add to it. As far as the Road Dogg thing, Road Dogg went out there and took a lot of arrows and took a lot of shots to the jaw on behalf of the show he was titled as being a head writer on. But ultimately, we all know those shows are everything signed off through Vince. So and brought and looked at through the lens of Vince. So regardless of whatever good or bad it was or whatever Road Dogg had to say, ultimately it's Vince's show. So. If he felt the need to, be a part of the bunkered down mentality and kind of show that he's in a foxhole with Vince to kind of carry some favor, more power to him. I'm sure that made his job easier. But didn't make his job easy enough because he fucking said, "I'm done." So, it's rough working with Vince. We've seen this displayed time and time again. So, whoever's up next, and hopefully it's not a long time before they burn out either.
Yeah, next man up.
Yep,
Like Vince be testing that theory, bitch. Yeah, man. I didn't know if there was anything else you wanted to talk about this week, but that's it for my format.
Well, I mean, we can talk about some of the moments we had. Well, I guess we kind of touched on that during the Suplex Mania, but yeah, man. Really excited to see what they do with Stardom next week or when the show comes out, because they were doing two stipulations that were like really important. Like they're doing their draft where they repick the factions amongst the faction chiefs or whatever else or leaders, and then they did a Odio Tai versus Queen's Quest match where Queen's Quest Mass were on the line against the Odio Tai Dance. So interested to see how that comes out. I'm spoiler free on both of those situations, so can't wait to see what comes about it next week, and I can't wait till the New York City show actually shows up on Stardom's channel, so I can like rewatch Utami versus Momo, kind of hear what, and also like check out the commentary if they actually do the commentary feed. But yeah, trying to think what else. I think I'm gonna start looking through more Oz Academy stuff now that, and also Tokyo Joshi now that Yuka's there for AEW and Shida is now going to be in AEW, kind of get more familiar with what she can all bring to the table as opposed to just a taste of what I've seen. So, anything else to you? Like anything else on your agenda for watching more wrestling?
Not really. I've been I kind of disconnected this past week. I had my birthday. I was kind of sick, and I didn't watch Raw or SmackDown this week. And I kind of I've kind of figured out the Night After Mania shit. It's a vanilla show that they throw out there, and it doesn't. If there's a week to ever take off, it's that one. So they usually try to do some type of big match. They had the Seth Rollins and Kofi Kingston advertisement. Looks like it didn't work too well in the ratings, especially coupled with that bait and switch they did. It's weird to see. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that whole decision is weird because it's either both of these dudes aren't what you want them to be as champions, or two, they're almost like the fans during main events of the NWO era of WCW, where the main event happens and motherfuckers are immediately looking to their back because they know a fuck finish is a coming, and the crowd more or less or the fans watching at home, whatever else is new to they're going to bullshit their way out of this match to actually not do a finish, so I'm not going to watch because I'm going to get frustrated, or I don't care because they're going to fuck me anyway. And sure enough,
bro,
it's one of those two, and neither one of those are a good thing.
So check this out. Monday, right? This man finisher was trying to get me to watch live so bad. He was like serious? Tagging me in the post, like during when they announced it. He's like, "You might want to watch this. You might want to watch this." And like some crazy shit is happening and all that. And then I found out what was going on because Twitter is just blowing up. And I was like, "Oh, so apparently they want to lose their damn minds." Like that's why I wrote him back. I was like, "Still not watching. I'll catch it tomorrow." I didn't end up catching it tomorrow because I found out what happened. But so Rich Latta with a win there. So, but yeah, man, everyone that showed love in New York, Brooklyn Ike, guys from Voices of Wrestling, Joe and Rich, Esteban throwing the New Japan, fan club meeting. Everyone I met there, Amy. I'm probably forgetting some names and all that. Please forgive me. But everybody was at Suplex Mania and it was a really fun time. We had lots of travel to get through and all that. Thank you guys for navigating because I was completely lost. I was trying to pull out the Google Maps and look at the train maps and I just couldn't figure it out from Queens. When I step off of Manhattan where I know how the trains work, it don't quite click for me. So, but yeah, man. So I don't know. It was a real fun time. I'm looking forward to it being in Tampa, so we know exactly where to go real fast and everything else. And hopefully WWE doesn't hate and try to lock everybody out. But I'm looking forward to see what takes place with Fighter Fest. More of that card coming out. And the road to Double or Nothing begins, I guess. So that's going to be, a little over a month from now. So May 25th. So, and they're talking about the AEW TV deals. Looks like it's going to be TNT. It looks like another source kind of broke it about going to the upfronts, that it looks like that's going to be there. Nothing officially has been signed. Looks like Meltzer's not touching that story right now, so I don't know if he has news and he's sitting on it, or AEW is not acknowledging it either. So, what would you think about that? That it looks like Jim Ross got revealed. He's the senior advisor, and he may be doing commentary at some point or on just big shows. What do you think the acquisition of Jim Ross in 2019 really means? Right?
It means he can be the voice of common sense when. In the foundation of ideas when the Young Bucks or Kenny try to get too artistic and cute and heads or get too far in the clouds. For example, Jim Ross can now be the big boy to Kenny and the Young Bucks' Andre 3000. You get too pie in the sky, you become unrelatable and people will tune out. No, it's look, man, sometimes you need some steak and potatoes as opposed to whatever the fuck that is in that dish that has no meat in it and it has no animal broth involved in it. It's okay. I think they're going to come on a nice balance of, because you have all these great wrestling minds together. I feel like all together they can come up with something better than when it's just them by themselves. I feel like they're all working in tandem. You can come up with something good. So I think finding out that he's an advisor as opposed to he's going to be the main commentator, I think that's also a good sign. Where they're not, doesn't feel like, they're chasing ex-WWE clout. They have a mind of being wary of, we don't want too many ex-WWE ears, and then we come off looking like TNA back in the day when they were out here chasing after Tyler Rex and shit.
Yeah, I think this is, I don't know. Ross has had his doubters and, his critics, especially with his performance in New Japan. I always kind of maintained that he was doing that for a check, and, he wasn't really engaged, and he had really no reason to be engaged with them because he didn't cover this stuff. He didn't really know all those guys.
Right.
He didn't know their career stories and everything, but, he can get real caught up here because obviously it's going to be presented, in somewhat his vision. Like he'll know the vision of the company. It's not like he's working for a cable network that carries. So, I think you'll get a better performance out of Ross. I'm not expecting, game changing results from Jim Ross, like as far as the commentator or anything. But if he can contribute to the ideas, cool. That's where I'm at with it. But I'm trying to think of any other like weird news that's been out that we've missed.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the exact timestamp for when I was watching Raw on Monday, and also in the Social Suplex group thread on Messenger, where I literally said after they announced at the beginning that they were going to do Kofi versus Seth title, I actually sent out a text that says, quote, "So how are they going to get themselves out of this ? I can't find the exact time on it, but it was before Sami Zayn came out, looking at the conversation. And it may have been before, it might have been like right during the Elias segment. So, like, people, and I'm not some, clairvoyant genius, like, if you watch enough WWE, that they damn sure were going to do that on Monday night, where they were going to make another champ. They weren't going to do that. Like, that would have been terrible for Kofi. It would have been disastrous if they had did that to Seth. So, where Seth beats Kofi, that would have been awful. Like, there's no bueno.
Yeah, nobody would have won.
No.
Everybody loses. Even Seth.
Yes. Yes. Like, Seth would have finally known what it would have been like to be Roman Reigns for a day.
Yeah.
For a week or for a month. And, like, he unmercifully booed. This is bullshit! Boo!
Yeah. Big boos on deck.
Hella boos.
But lots of injuries out there.
Yeah.
As we mentioned, Nia with the ACLs. I think Daniel Bryan has an undisclosed injury. We haven't found out
AJ.
what that is yet. AJ with the ribs, I believe. These people, it seems like either injuries going into WrestleMania, people working through, or...
Yep. Working through.
And then it was like, we just trying to limp to the finish line, and then unfortunate circumstances like Big E tearing his meniscus on Tuesday. So hopefully this doesn't impact anything that Kofi had going on. But
yeah, I don't know about the Bryan thing, but like AJ's been banged up for like a full year. Nia, like the Nia thing appears to be just wear and tear from working for over the past year or whatever else, and she's found this as the finish line to do it. Like, and I'm glad that some were able to actually make it finish line, as opposed to like the goal was to get to a certain spot and then hang it up, as opposed to let's have you do more. Let's bring it to the main roster, have you do more matches, and then shit on the feat that we've been building for literally like 20 months. So yeah, I'm glad that worked out much better than what happened with Ciampa.
Yeah, yeah. But that's it for me, man. I don't really have too much more.
Yeah, I think I'm done. I think I'm talked out of wrestling. Dude. So much wrestling, so much talking about wrestling. Like, I think I've done so much talking about wrestling that this week that I'm kind of like, especially with watching so much wrestling, is like, I don't know when I'm going to go back to like watch some of the shows that I saw over the weekend to see how from a TV perspective, but I don't know if I ever will. Like, there's just so much wrestling, and like not even because I think this is the most like good wrestling I've ever seen over a week span or whatever else. But whew, man, I'm glad to be on the other side of it, and I'm glad that I didn't get the WrestleMania flu with belt mutants and whatever else Joe Lanza likes to call them. But I'm glad to be on the other side, and like I feel like I'm going to stick with it. I feel like I'm not going to be burned out. I feel like I can handle watching WWE, and also like keep up with the playoffs without like leaving out for a loop like I did the last 2 years. So I'm in a good space in my wrestling fandom right now. It's after post-Mania, which is like saying something like, maybe all these booking decisions, like they did a lot more than just what we stated previously. Like I feel a lot more energized, or I actually feel energized leaving a WrestleMania than like the last 2 years. I just like, y'all don't get it. And I'm not saying that from y'all don't get it from my perspective. I mean, y'all don't get it from like someone that's a casual fan, someone that's a diehard, someone that's someone that's like looking to find an entry point into the show, into your product either. Like, I felt like this is a much better place than the last 2 years.
Like, imagine trying to slap somebody's head into watching WrestleMania, right? And watch the whole fucking show. But hold on, bro. How long is this shit? Like,
or better yet, imagine doing that with like WrestleMania 33 or WrestleMania 32.
Yeah.
Or WrestleMania 34.
What, so they bust his head? So that was a shoot? Well, fuck. What they do now? Like,
oh man.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess that's gonna wrap it up. We'll holla at y'all.
Yeah, I guess that means I have to do the run through of all the gimmicks that we have on the network, right? So yes. On Sunday we have One Nation Radio. This show exactly with me and Rich. Normally Rich is the one that's actually doing the promoing, but Mondays we have Keepin It Strong Style with Josh and Jeremy, and they cover all the best of New Japan.
You mean Tuesday?
I thought they normally drop Monday nights.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they be cheating. They drop like super late Monday.
Yeah. Let's see. What is Tuesdays normally?
Keepin It Strong Style.
You consider it? Okay, fine then. Monday night / Tuesdays, Keepin It Strong Style. Wednesdays we have Rick and Clyde Wrestling Podcast, and then every other Wednesday we have Grown Men Watch This Shit. Thursdays we have my show featuring another guest host, NXT Then Now Forever. Then on Saturdays we have All Things Elite with Floyd.
What up, Floyd? What up, Rick? What up, Clive? I was like, do I want to say a shoot name or? I was like, nope, I'll just say the work.
Wow. Yeah. So then, let's think what else we have. Share, rate, subscribe, all that stuff. Check us out on Facebook. Check out powerslam.tv. Check out what else we have. Oh yeah, we also have the ProWrestlingTees.com /Social Suplex. Check out the merch, pick up the merch, wear the merch, get buried in the merch, all of that.
Yep, shout out to my boy Dan Coffin, showed up to the NXT wearing the One Nation Radio gimmick.
Yep.
And we only need a couple more shirts, y'all, to be sold so we can start making our ridiculous shirts. We know y'all want those. I will be producing this Bret Hart's Pro Wrestling shirt. So, you get ready. It's on deck. I'm going to try to make me a design for this shit.
I can't wait till Bret sues us. Can't wait.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I think that'll be the end of the show, right? Anything else? You sure?
I think that's it, man.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, guys. Check out the LLP show that we have on Tuesday nights. See you next week. Later.